Good morning all of you. In previous video we discussed about the time value of money. Time value of money. In that we discuss different methods: present worth method, future worth method, annual worth method, internal rate of return. These all methods we discussed in that time value of money chapter. So in this chapter or in this topic, uh, particular unit, we discuss about the decision regarding the that we consider in the economic analysis. So whether the project is a acceptable or not acceptable, whether the project is acceptable or not acceptable is defined in this economic analysis. And for this defining that project is acceptable or not acceptable, that we decide according to the what are the expenditures, what are the capital investment, and what are the revenue generated, for a particular period of time, So in the chapter, in previous videos or in previous unit, we discuss about the different methods. We start for that different methods from simple compound interest, for simple interest, compound interest, and different methods: present worth method, future worth method, annual worth method, etc. And in this unit, and for about this 7 to 8 videos in this unit that are discussed about the economic analysis, and from that economic analysis we can conclude whether that project is acceptable or not acceptable, and from that we can define whether that capital investment, total expenses are recovered by the total revenue generated for the particular period of time, And to this economic analysis, we generally use a minimum attractive rate of return, MARR, and payback period. These two points, by these two methods, we can decide whether that project is acceptable or not acceptable. So in this minimum attractive rate of return, we consider this present worth, future worth, annual worth, internal rate of return rate, external rate of return. These techniques we use to evaluate this project in this MARR method. So we discuss these methods, and then we judge that whether this project is acceptable or not acceptable. So we already go through this present worth method, future worth method, annual worth method. We already go through this method, but in this unit, we discuss this method. Or we use this method to judge whether this project is acceptable, or not acceptable. So in this unit, we already discussed these all methods. And in this unit we discuss about that these methods are, by using these methods we conclude this project is economical or not economical, or this investment in this project is desirable or not desirable. So this unit is by using this unit we conclude, or we evaluate project. Also this is called as a economic analysis of that particular project. So first method, we discuss this first method as a present worth method. So already we go through these formulas, So this present worth method, it consider inflows, outflows. It consider cash inflows, cash outflow for a particular period of time, and with a particular interest rate. And this present worth with this particular interest rate I percent, and in this present worth method we consider or we calculate these present worth at the beginning of that particular planning horizon. At the beginning of that particular planning horizon. So we consider or we calculate this present worth, or it is a equivalent to worth at the beginning of the planning. At the beginning of the planning. So this is this we can write in this way. This we can write in this present worth. We can write in this way. So I is the effective interest rate, or this is the minimum attractive rate of return for per compounding period. K is the index for the each compounding period. Fk is the future cash flow at the end of the period K, and the N is the number of compounding period in the planning horizon. So if this present worth at particular interest rate I is greater than or equal to 0, then project is economically justified. If that present worth is greater than or equal to 0, then we can say that this project is economically justified. So in this unit we just conclude or take decision whether this project is economically justified or investment is desirable or not desirable. So these conclusions we done in this unit by using that methods that we previously studied. So some examples based on this present worth method are like this. So in this so this is the example. So this is the example. So in this example, a new solar water heating system is to be installed in a building. For solar water, one solar water system is considered. Purchasing and installing the heating system cost of rupees 1 lakh. And the company expect to save rupees 25,000 every year on saving of electricity bill. The company's minimum attractive rate of return is 12% per year. Maintenance costs are worked out to be rupees 2,000 per year, and the system's market value until will be 20,000 at the end of the 5 years. Also use this present worth method to determine whether the system should be installed or not installed. So here this annual this principal amount is given as 1 lakh. Annual revenue is given. Annual revenue, it means saving of electricity per year. Saving of electricity per year is 25,000. So this is nothing but a revenue generated, 25,000 rupees per year. Now time period is given as a 5 year. Annual expenses are the 2,000. Maintenance cost is that is considered in expenses per year, 2,000. Salvage value at the end of the 5th year, how much that system have value. That salvage value is given as a 20,000, and minimum attractive rate of return is given as I is equal to 12%. So this present worth we considered at the beginning of this particular horizon, or at the beginning of this particular period, at the beginning. So we can note all these values. For the present condition. So this present worth, we consider this. So we draw here this cash flow diagram. In this cash flow diagram, downward side arrows are showing this cost. The cost. So this is in particular investment. Initial investment is considered as a cost, 1 lakh rupees, 2,000 rupees per year. These are the maintenance costs. This is the first year, this is second year, this is third year, this is fourth year, and this is the fifth year. So 5 slots are considered here. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. 5 slots are considered. And for each year, after completion of 1 year, 25,000 electricity bill are saved. So after each year 25,000 electricity bill are saved. So these are the 25,000, 25,000, third, fourth and fifth year. 25,000 electricity bill are saved per year, and at the end of the fifth year again there is a value of that particular system. Salvage value is 20,000. So with this cash flow diagram we can consider this present worth. We can consider this present worth. Now this present worth, in this present worth formula, this downward side we consider as a negative, this downward side we consider as a negative. So this investment in this formula considered as a minus P plus AR, annual revenue. Annual revenue is 25,000. Now this annual revenue 25,000. This annual revenue 25,000 is a for a period of 5 years. For a period of 5 years. So we consider 5-year period, 12% interest rate, 12% interest rate, and this now this P by A factor. This P by A factor we consider. We already studied this P by A factor. So this P by A factor is the uniform series present worth. Uniform series present worth. Uniform series present worth. So this P by A factor is calculated like this: 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I raised to n. So this is called as a uniform series present worth. That we already discussed in time value of money chapter. So if you look at these factors, P by A is A by P. A by P, it is just a reverse of this. It is just a reciprocal of this. So denominator comes in the numerator comes in the denominator. Similarly A by F and A by F. F by A and A by F are reciprocal to each other. This F by P by F. F by P and P by F are the reciprocal of each other. P by A by P, that are also reciprocal to each other. And these are called as a, now here in this example we discuss about this P by A. P by A and P by F. P by A is nothing but uniform series present worth, and P by F is a single payment present worth. P by A is a single payment present worth. So these are the factors. So we calculate these factors by substituting this interest rate I, this period n. Now we hear that n is a 5 year. This n is a 5 year. So we put this I value, n value into this factor and calculate this factor. And this factor P by A comes as a, with interest rate 12% and a period of time 5 years, that comes as a 3.6048. Similarly this P by A factor, P by single payment present worth factor, we calculate as a 1 upon 1 plus I is a 12%, n is the period 5 years, and with this, by substituting these values, interest rate 12% and n is the 5 years, that factor comes as a 0.5674. That factor comes as a 0.5674. And with this, all these factors, substituting all these factors, that present value comes as a minus 1778 rupees and 25 paisa. Now this value comes as a negative. So it is not desirable. So investment is not desirable. So as we discussed earlier, present worth, if it is that present worth is greater than or equal to 0, then only that project is economically justified. So here in this example, that present worth comes as a negative. Less than 0. It comes as a less than 0, so it is not desirable. So this investment or this project is not justificable. So it is not desirable. Investment is not desirable. So this conclusion we draw from this present worth formula, by using this present worth formula, and we can say that this investment is not desirable. So this method is related to the present worth method. Similarly, we discuss about this different methods. So in this present work method, the second example, this second example. So here this space heating system is given. Space heating system is considered. Purchased and installed of rupees 1,15,000, and it will save 30,000 electricity bill per year. And period considered for this present work is a 6-year period. The company uses a minimum attractive rate of return given as 15% per year for in its economical evaluation of the refurbished system. So the market value of the system will be 12,000 at the end of the 6th year. So salvage value is given, and the additional annual operating and maintenance expenses are negligible. Use the present worth method to determine whether the system should be installed. So to find this present worth of the proposed heating system, so we consider that this is the electrical saving 30,000. This electrical saving 30,000 is given. Minimum attractive rate of return 15% is given. With initial investment 1,15,000. This is given. So we put all the values here. We put all the values similar to the previous one. That we discussed in this previous example. So all the values are put here that are similar to this example. Revenue generated, and that we consider for 6 years. Revenue generated for 6 years. Again, this 12,000 is the salvage value. This is 12,000 is salvage value, and that also considered for the 6th year. That also considered for the 6th year. Similar to here. Salvage value that we consider for the 5th year. So this will be considered here, and by substituting all these values and again calculating these factors, P by A factor according to these formulas. P by A factor according to this formula, and by using this formula, we find out these factors 3.7845, P by A factor 0.4323. With substituting all these terms, this present worth method comes as a 3,722 rupees and 60 paise. So it comes as a positive. So as this present worth is greater than or equal to 0, so we can conclude that this method, this project is justificable. Or it is a investment is desirable. So this present worth is greater than 0. So investment is desirable, and we can consider this. Project, or we consider this investment as a desirable one. So this is the present worth method. We discuss next method. So all these methods we discussed earlier in time value of money. In this unit, we just conclude by using this method that whether this project is desirable or not desirable. In this unit, we conclude whether this project is desirable or not desirable. So in next video we discuss another method, and we conclude, and then we go to the for comparison or for alternatives of for the project. We search alternatives for the project.